The CEO of Fair Capitals is basically a Chinese drama hero working 25/8, sipping black coffee like it's oxygen, and just arrogant enough to make HR nervous. He heads to the office for a meeting about launching a new product. On the other hand, we meet our story's heroine, Sher, who lives far away in a mountain village. She's not just any village girl. She's a highly skilled martial artist and also an expert in Chinese medicine. Now that Sher has turned 20, her master gives her an important task, delivering a letter to Mr. Jiang Hong Kong, the chairman of 100 Renminbi. Not only is he a big shot, but he's also an old friend of her master. More than that, her master wants her to step out of their small village and see the world. The entire village comes to see Sher off because she's their beloved girl, and they all feel emotional about her leaving. She says her goodbyes and sets off for the city. Meanwhile, our CEO arrives at his office for an important meeting about the new product launch. However, his uncle and aunt strongly oppose his decision, but he shuts them down with his solid planning and proven success records. Yet behind the scenes, his uncle and aunt seem to be plotting something against him. Back to Sher, she finally reaches the city and even manages to find a small place to stay. The next day is the big product launch, and her friend, Hei Hua, who is in charge of it, announces that a very famous actress will be the spokesperson. But rumors are flying around that the CEO's grandfather is the CEO of 100 Renminbi. The CEO of 100 Renminbi is secretly looking for a future granddaughter-in-law through this event. Of course, the CEO isn't interested in an arranged marriage. I have no plans to start a family right now, and this type of thing isn't for me. Meanwhile, Sher reaches the office address given by her master, and when she sees how massive the company is, she's completely shocked. As she tries to enter and meet Mr. Zhang Hong Kong, the security guards stop her, questioning why she's there. She tells them she has an important letter to deliver from her master. More questions. In her mind, she imagines using her amazing martial arts skills to take them down in seconds. But then she remembers her master strictly told her not to get into fights in the city. Frustrated, she steps back, wondering how she can meet Mr. Zhang Hong Kong. Just then, he arrives at the office, heading inside to discuss something important with the CEO. At the launching event, invitations are being checked at the entrance. Sher notices that all the VIP guests are heading inside, so she quickly comes up with a plan. She sneaks in by blending with the crowd. Meanwhile, the CEO's grandfather is worried sick about his health. The CEO barely eats, stays up all night working, and doesn't take care of himself. So the grandfather brings up the marriage topic again, hoping that getting married might bring some balance to his life. And so, the stage is set for the big product launch, unexpected meetings, and maybe, fate playing its role. She was confused about where to go to meet the chairman. The rehearsal for the performances began. After the rehearsal ended, everyone went to get ready, and Sher sneaked into the line and followed them. When she saw a security guard approaching, she quickly entered a room and hid. A little later, Lin entered the same room. But since she was inside a changing tent, she didn't realize that Sher was there. Meanwhile, the event had already started. From a conversation between the uncle and aunt, it became clear that they had done something to sabotage the event. After secretly working with them, her plan was to ruin the event. She pretended to be unwell so she wouldn't have to perform, and in return, the uncle and aunt promised to pay her a lot of money. This way, she could legally break the contract without consequences. While discussing this, she secretly eavesdropped from inside the stand. As the performance was about to begin, Lin was called to the stage. She started acting dramatically, pretending to feel unwell. The two of them were in a state of shock. They realized that she was faking it. At the same time, the chairman arrived at the venue. Sher, who had been waiting for a long time, was unsure of what to do. Suddenly, she noticed some medical professionals nearby. She walked over and pressed Lin's hand and wrist very hard, causing her intense pain. Lin screamed in pain, but quickly continued pretending to be unconscious. Realizing this, Sher pressed even harder, making Lin scream again and break character. Furious, Lin started yelling at Sher. By forcing Sher to go away, she crept up to the stand, and GAV played the music on him. She figured that Lin was about to kill Sher. Lin then ran away after a short break. Lin ran away, followed by her manager and assistant. As the audience looked at her, people were confused that the spokesperson had left. Then, Sher found herself stepping onto the stage. She was feeling nervous in front of so many people. She didn't know what to say. She was not going to move. The music suddenly started playing, and the lights dimmed. Everyone's attention was now on Sher. At first, Sher felt a little embarrassed, but then she recalled her master's words. She took a deep breath and began her performance, showcasing her martial arts skills. The audience loved it, and even Chen, who was initially surprised, appreciated it since the performance turned out to be a success. The grandpa was particularly impressed. He went on stage, introduced Sher as the new spokesperson, and officially welcomed her into the company. However, Sher quietly told him, "My name isn't Lin." Later, Sher was taken to the chairman's office. First, he asked Lin to be ready to pay compensation for breaking the contract. Then he turned to Sher, asking about her and why she was there. Sher explained that she had come to find someone, but she hadn't found them yet. The chairman thanked her for saving the event and offered her a temporary job at the company until everything regarding the event was properly settled. He also suggested that she work with Asha, hoping she could help her find the person she was looking for. Meanwhile, she goes to meet Grandpa, where we also meet Joe's younger brother, Sarin, who has returned home after skipping his classes to play Go with Lenka. Meanwhile, Joe and Shur sit and wait for Grandpa, but Shar, with her constant chatter, starts annoying him. Just then, Grandpa arrives and Shar introduces herself, explaining that she has brought a letter from her master for him. When Grandpa asks for her master's name, she tells him it is Shurshing Chauhan. Hearing this name, Grandpa is completely shocked. After reading the letter, Grandpa shares a story many years ago. Master Shurshing had saved his life during a mountaineering expedition on a very high mountain when he was in grave danger. Despite the risk, Master Shurshing had risked his own life to save him. From that moment, they became close friends, and Master Shurshing would visit Grandpa every year, bringing many gifts. However, Grandpa had always regretted that he was never able to properly repay Master Shurshing for saving his life. No one knew about this regret. In the letter, Master Shurshing wrote that his biggest concern was Shur, as she had no one else besides him. Shuri requested Grandpa to take care of her. Grandpa then declares that from today, she will be his adopted daughter, making her part of the Zhou family. Hearing this, Joe and Siren are shocked. When Grandpa asks why, they jokingly say that if Shur becomes their adopted sister, they would have to call her auntie, which they are not really comfortable with. They also assume that Shur wouldn't like being called that either. Grandpa laughs and agrees, saying they should first help Shur settle in the city. He considers buying a big house for her, but Shur immediately refuses, saying she doesn't need a luxurious house. She explains that she has lived in a small village all her life and city life is already overwhelming. She has already arranged a place to stay and will gradually adapt to the city. She wants to earn her own way forward through hard work. The next day, Shur arrives at the office and officially enrolls as an employee. Since Joe had brought her in, the staff treated her with respect. However, since she was new and from the countryside, Joe instructed his assistant not to give her too much work. Meanwhile, Joe also tells Shur to think carefully about why Lin suddenly ran away from the event. He already suspects that his uncle and aunt were behind it, but he has no proof. During Shura's first few days at the office, she isn't given any tasks. She arrives with high hopes of working hard, but no one assigns her anything. Frustrated, she starts asking colleagues for work, finishing their tasks very quickly, yet still isn't given more work. By the end of the workday, she is completely bored and decides to confront Joe in his office. Joe explains that since she is new, people don't know her capabilities yet, but tells her not to worry. He advises her to stay active, focus on learning, and help others when needed. This way, she will gradually integrate with the team. At that moment, Joe suddenly gets a headache. Shura tells him to sit down, then checks his pulse with her fingers. From this, she immediately understands his health condition. Earlier, his assistant had also mentioned that Joe works late nights and sometimes even forgets to eat. Shura realizes his health is in bad shape. When Joe asks what she's thinking, Shura doesn't say anything and leaves. That night, she goes home and prepares herbal medicine for him. The next morning, she brings the medicine to the office, but its strong smell fills the room, making the staff uncomfortable. She finishes preparing it and takes it to Joe's cabin, but he hasn't arrived yet. While waiting, she notices that his desk is messy, so she organizes everything neatly. After that, she starts helping her colleagues bring water for some, relieving pain for others, making herself useful wherever she can. So Shuei decides to help by taking the suit for dry cleaning. However, when she finds out that dry cleaning was a mistake, he immediately apologizes. Take 3 to 4 days, which she thinks is too long. She buys a bar of soap and washes the suit herself in the washroom, then hangs it on the terrace to dry. She feels really happy after doing this. At the office, everyone starts talking to she more nicely, greeting her with hellos. Meanwhile, a man named Mr. Lin arrives to sign a contract with Joe's company. Joe's assistant takes him to the waiting room, and she follows behind, bringing water for Mr. Lin. However, when Joe looks for the proposal he had prepared for Mr. Lin, he can't find it on his desk. In fact, everything on his desk is missing. He becomes frustrated and a little angry, realizing that someone entered his office without permission and moved his things around. To get answers, Joe asks his assistant to come, but she is currently busy taking care of Mr. Lin. She also doesn't know who entered his office. While searching for the file on the bookshelf, she notices the arrangement pattern and says that whoever cleaned the office arranged everything alphabetically. Following this pattern, she finds the proposal file, bringing relief to everyone. Before going to talk to Mr. Lin, Joe decides to calm his mind with some coffee. He picks up a cup from under his table, thinking it's coffee, and drinks it only to realize it's the herbal medicine. The strong taste makes him feel even more irritated, and he immediately demands to know who did this. That's when everyone remembers that in the morning, Shay was preparing herbal medicine in the office, and the smell was exactly the same. They confirmed that it must have been Shay who entered his office and most likely rearranged the files too. Meanwhile, in the waiting room, Mr. Lin is experiencing back pain, and Shur notices it. She asks him about it, but Mr. Lin is already very annoyed and demands to know where Sure is. The assistant tells him that she is with Mr. Lin. Everyone starts rushing toward the waiting room, worried that Sure might do something reckless. When they arrive, they see she stepping on Mr. Lin's back, performing an unexpected treatment move. Seeing this, Joe freaks out and immediately pulls Sure away by her hand. Mr. Lin, surprised by the sudden movement, ends up fainting. Later, she prepares herbal medicine again for Joe, but he flat out refuses to drink it. Instead, he scolds her for touching his things without permission. Sure accepts his anger calmly and replies, "But you were the one who told me to stay active and help others. That's why I cleaned your office and organized everything, it's my way of helping." She then adds, "Besides, I saved you money by cleaning it myself instead of hiring someone." Hearing this, Joe gets suspicious and asks, "Wait, how exactly did you save money?" That's when she proudly brings him to the terrace, where his suit is hanging to dry. Joe explodes with rage, completely losing it. He drags she to Grandpa, wanting to complain about her behavior. At Grandpa's place, Joe starts ranting about Sure, listing out all the things she has done. This reminds Grandpa of the time when Joe's mom was criticized in a similar way. Grandpa had chosen her to marry into the family despite many people speaking against her. Joe then asked Grandpa to send Sure away, offering to cover all her expenses and even suggesting that she be moved to another company owned by a friend. However, by this point, Sure has already made many acquaintances at the office. Even Saren teases Joe, saying, "Maybe you like her, you've never brought any girl home before." Sure firmly denies any possibility of a relationship, saying, "That's impossible. We just met." Hearing this, Saren laughs and exchanges phone numbers with her. Just then, Grandpa and Joe come back outside, and Grandpa calls Sure in for a private conversation. Inside, Grandpa asks Sure what she thinks of Joe. At first, she praises him, but then she truthfully points out his health issues, explaining that his condition is serious and he needs proper rest, regular meals, and exercise. Otherwise, his health will deteriorate further. As she finishes explaining, Joe suddenly enters the room, and the strong smell of herbal medicine fills the air. Joe instantly loses his temper and starts shouting. Finally, Joe demands to know what Sure is doing there. She tells him she's just doing her job. Before he can say anything, Grandpa's trusted aide arrives and announces that, by the chairman's special order, she is now the vice president of administration at Farron Capitals. Joe is completely shocked, as this position doesn't even exist in the company. Grandpa's aide explains that the chairman created this position specifically for she, and her main responsibility is to take care of Joe and assist him. Joe refuses immediately, saying, "There's no need for this. I already have a secretary, and I don't need anyone else's help, especially not she's." Sure, however, insists that he does need help and starts lecturing him. She explains that his deteriorating health is the reason Grandpa personally appointed her, and that her health has deteriorated as she becomes a successful member if he should just accept it. Frustrated, Joe keeps arguing, saying, "I don't have any problem, and I don't need you." This leads to a back-and-forth argument, where Sure keeps insisting that he does need help, while Joe keeps denying it. In anger, she sarcastically apologizes, then suddenly pinches his leg hard, listing out all of his health issues again. Joe refuses to admit any pain, claiming his body is completely fine, but it's obvious that he is in a lot of discomfort. He just doesn't want to lose to she. But she refuses to back down. She completely exposes his poor health, leaving him with no choice but to listen. She then declares that, no matter what, she will take care of him and that he won't be able to escape from her. To make matters worse for Joe, Sure calls Grandpa on a video call. With no way out, Joe is forced to drink the herbal medicine. Seeing his misery, the company staff secretly enjoys the moment. Meanwhile, Mr. Lin arrives for his meeting. Before anything else, Joe apologizes on behalf of she. However, Mr. Lin surprises him by saying there's no need to apologize. He actually came to thank she. Thanks to her therapy, his chronic back pain of many years has completely disappeared. Joe is stunned. Before leaving, Mr. Lin requests that next time they meet, Sure should come along, as he wants to introduce her to some friends who might need her treatments.